that we have an isolated gunshot wound or penetrating trauma just below the knee. Okay, now that we're talking about our tourniquet conversion, we're working on converting this over. We're gonna pack it with some quick clot and we're converting it over to wound packing rather than the tourniquet. Okay, so let's back up for a minute. In the March algorithm, M is for massive hemorrhage. That's when we apply tourniquets. That is when we do some wound packing for junctional wounds. That is when we are quickly stopping any of the major bleeding to keep that blood inside the body. When we get to C for circulation, we start reassessing some of that. So we need to assess what we've done. And specifically, we're gonna be talking about what we are doing with tourniquets. So we reassess tourniquets, we reposition those tourniquets if needed, tighten those tourniquets that were put in place, and then we will apply a second if needed, and then finally we will convert those tourniquets to wound packing if it's indicated to do so. So let's talk about assessment. What are we assessing with these tourniquets? Well, you gotta remember, these are protocols that are used for stressful times, stressful environments most of the time. So we're throwing a tourniquet on, there may be bullets flying overhead, this may be an active shooter case, this may be a mass casualty where we're triaging and trying to figure out who to treat first. So we have to go back and make sure that what was done in haste in the first part was actually doing what we think it's doing. So we're gonna reassess that tourniquet and make sure it is stopping blood flow like we want it to. So if this tourniquet is applied to an extremity and that extremity has had severe injury to it, we wanna make sure that the bleeding is fully stopped and that tourniquet is as tight as it needs to be. We also wanna make sure that tourniquet is in the appropriate place. Now, when you're first applying a tourniquet, it is appropriate to put that high and tight if you don't know where the area of injury actually is. So if this person has a bunch of clothes on and they're bleeding, we can throw that tourniquet high and tight, throw it on them, stop that bleeding, and then this would be the time we reassess and we go, oh, they're bleeding down here in the lower arm. We can put a tourniquet 2 to 3 inches above that wound, tighten it down, and then we can remove that tourniquet from the upper extremity. When we move that tourniquet, what we're doing is we're allowing more blood flow to this other tissue that has currently not had blood flow. Now, I kind of want to stress this too. If that patient, if it's an isolated incident, a car wreck you pull up on the side of the road and you put a tourniquet on this patient and they are going to be transported by EMS to a trauma facility and then they're going to go right into surgery, don't bother moving this. Leave the first tourniquet in place. You can put it high and tight or 2 to 3 inches above, but if there's already one in place high and tight, leave it. They'll go to surgery, it'll be taken care of, it's not a big deal. Past 2 hours, that tissue starts to die, and we want to preserve as much of that as possible. Now granted, if it's on there for 3, 4, 5 hours, they will probably, if everything is fixed in surgery, they will probably have to do some physical therapy and some rehab and kind of work those muscles back up. So it's not that they will end up losing that extremity, but that muscle and tissue will start to die. So if it's a mass casualty, or if it's an active shooter event or something where you think that there could be a delay past that 2 hours, then we want to be a little bit more careful with where we're placing a tourniquet. So if in the M for the March, we put a tourniquet high and tight, now is the time to reassess. We can put a second tourniquet 2 to 3 inches above the wound, then we remove the first one. Don't take the first one off and try to move it because now you're losing more blood. Use a second one and then you can take that first one back off. And we have now moved that to 2 to 3 inches above the wound so that we have more tissue that's actually being perfused now. If this is a total amputation that we're talking about, or we put a tourniquet on 2 to 3 inches above the wound and that is the proper location for it and it's there and it's working, we just want to reassess and make sure we don't need to tighten this. Now, when you have severe injury, there is swelling, there are muscle spasms, there are several different factors that can cause that area to actually swell up and that tissue to get bigger. So we have injury, we have muscle spasms, we have swelling, that area is bigger, we put a tourniquet on, it compresses, it stops the bleeding. So once you have that tourniquet applied and there's no more blood flow past that point, that muscle will start to relax because it doesn't have the blood flow anymore. And you're not going to have as much swelling because it's not continuing to push blood to that area. So you're gonna have a little bit of relaxing, and that can actually make your tourniquet loose. So this is the perfect time to go back and make sure that that tourniquet is as tight as it needs to be. If you can't stop blood flow, now is a great time to go ahead and apply a second tourniquet right next to that first one. But this is the time where we reassess and make sure these tourniquets are working like we need them to. And we want to make sure that this is doing its job. So we'll check to make sure it's tight enough, check to make sure wherever it was bleeding has stopped. If we need, we can come in here and tighten this up. So come in here and crank this a little bit until the bleeding stops. If we have to, we'll apply a second tourniquet so we can apply that right next to the first tourniquet that we've placed. We'll offset those windlasses so that we can still crank them down. So this would also be the time that we could relocate a tourniquet if we needed. So let's say on this arm, we have put a tourniquet high and tight. It is doing its job, but this was a hand amputation, and we now have a lot of tissue here that's going to be affected and not have blood flow. So if we deem it wise and necessary to move this, then we will take a tourniquet, a second tourniquet. Don't take this one off until this one's in place. We take our second one, 2 to 3 inches above the wound, tighten that down, lock it in, put this in here, tighten it. That's in place, and now I'm going to release this, and then I want to be checking this to make sure that this one is now tight enough. And then I want to reassess. I'm not going to take this one completely off until I reassess and make sure that this is fully stopped. Once I know this is taken care of, I can now remove this one, or I can leave it in place in case I need to tighten it back up in a minute. So now we have moved or relocated that tourniquet down to 2 to 3 inches so we have good perfusion again in the upper part of this arm. So while we were here in the C portion of the March algorithm, the TCCC guidelines say that now if we have a tourniquet applied that we applied in the M for the March in massive hemorrhage, we can now convert that tourniquet over to wound packing with a pressure bandage if certain criteria are met. Those criteria that we're looking for are: 1, the patient cannot exhibit severe signs of shock, so they cannot be in a state of shock. If they're already in that state of shock, we don't want to risk losing any more blood. Let's just leave the tourniquet, leave well enough alone, and we'll try to get them to surgery as soon as possible. 2, we have to be able to monitor this wound. We don't want to take a tourniquet off, do the wound packing, have this as another bandage, and then not be able to monitor them closely, and now they end up bleeding out because we weren't able to get enough pressure with this pressure bandage or didn't pack the wound right or whatever the case is. So we want to make sure that this person can be monitored closely if we are going to do a tourniquet conversion. So the third criteria we have to meet is we have to make sure these patients don't have a total amputation. If they have a complete amputation, they need a tourniquet. There's no tissue past that point that we're going to be able to perfuse, so we're not worried about swapping this over to wound packing. So this would be for an isolated injury like a gunshot wound or something that's bleeding heavily. We throw a tourniquet on, we get them out of harm's way, and then we're reassessing. We come across it, we say, hey, there's some bleeding, they've got a tourniquet high and tight. We can wound pack, we can transition that tourniquet to the wound packing, and then that allows blood to continue to flow through this arm when we have just packed that one isolated area. That allows a greater chance for blood flow and perfusion to the rest of that extremity so they have less complications down the road. The time frame we're looking for when we do a tourniquet conversion is we want to do this conversion less than 2 hours after that tourniquet is applied. Now remember, those tourniquets have the little cool straps that help hold that windlass in place, and you're supposed to write the time on it. Well, there's a reason for that, because there's a lot of things that are based off when that tourniquet was applied. So it's important when you put one on, if you can, put that time on there. Now we have a reference to go off of to say, hey, can we do a tourniquet conversion on this person if they need it? Well, when was the time? Less than 2 hours? Yes, we can do a tourniquet conversion. Let's try that if we meet those other criteria. If it's been over 2 hours, you have to be very careful. And I would say for someone that's not a healthcare provider, that's not a paramedic, that doesn't have heart monitoring options, I would say leave that in place, let someone else deal with it. If you can convert it in less than 2 hours, go for it. If this person is going to be at surgery in less than 2 hours, don't even bother with a tourniquet conversion. This is for a mass casualty where you may be helping do triage or something, and there's going to be an extended time for them to get to surgery because of the sheer number of casualties there. Things are going to be delayed, and they're going to be put in triage and that kind of stuff. So this is only for people that are going to have an extended time to get to surgery, and make sure you do that conversion in less than 2 hours. And TCCC guidelines say absolutely do not take that off if it's been on for more than 6 hours unless you have a lot of stuff in place, because there's a lot of acid buildup. You take that tourniquet off, all that acid goes to the heart, and you can actually kill the patient with all that acid buildup unless you have some things like calcium and some good products like that to put on board to protect that patient when you take that tourniquet off and everything is introduced back into the body. Okay, now that we're talking about our tourniquet conversion, we're working on converting this over. We're gonna pack it with some quick clot and we're converting it over to wound packing rather than the tourniquet. So we are simulating that we have an isolated gunshot wound or penetrating trauma just below the knee. We have that, we've had severe arterial bleeding, and we have applied a tourniquet high and tight in the danger zone. We've gotten him out of the danger zone, and now we're running through the March algorithm. We get to the C. We are now at circulation. We're reassessing the tourniquet. The tourniquet is tight enough, but we believe that there's going to be an extended time to get him to surgery, and we have a wound that we think we can wound pack, transition this over, and we'll be able to monitor this patient so in case something goes wrong, we can now pay attention to this and we can address it. So we feel that this is a safe time to do a tourniquet conversion, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So we will expose the site. Let's assume that's already exposed. We see the site of the bleeding. So we're gonna take our quick clot here. We're gonna pull this out and we're gonna start packing this in here. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a ball here for some bulk at the end. I'm going to find where the bleeding is. I'm gonna push that in there. We're gonna fill this entire void with the gauze, packing really tightly. Okay, once that's full, I'm gonna take the rest of this gauze, place it on top. I'm gonna hold firm pressure on there. If I have someone else with me, they can hold pressure while I start to do this. But now I'm gonna take my pressure bandage, place it over the wound, and now I'm gonna start wrapping this around it. First wrap's gonna be fairly loose to hold it in place, and then I'll get it tighter as I go. Okay, so now we have the wound packing in place. We have a pressure bandage on top of it, so we know that this is pretty well secured. So now we can go ahead and start releasing this. Again, there should not be much bleeding, so it should be pretty easy to pack that. So we don't have any bleeding at this point because the tourniquet's still in place. So I'm gonna take this, we're gonna go ahead and loosen this up. And I'm gonna loosen this for a second. We've got some pressure off of this tourniquet, but now I'm gonna monitor right here and make sure that we don't have any blood start seeping through. So as I'm monitoring, I'm making sure that this doesn't start filling up with blood. If it does, we may need to apply more pressure, and if needed, I can quickly go and just retighten this tourniquet. That stops the blood flow so that we don't end up losing more of the precious blood in this person's body. So we've done the wound packing. We have this injury taken care of. We still have the tourniquet in place, but it's loose. Now, the last thing we want to do is we want to take this tourniquet and we want to reposition it down here 2 to 3 inches above the wound, and we're just going to have it loose but in place in case something happens and we have to retighten it. So I'm going to move this down here. It's going to be 2 to 3 inches above the wound, but remember that we can't put it on a joint or on that bone. So we're going to have to go just above that knee joint so that we're actually compressing tissue. So we're going to go up here. I'm going to put it on. And I'm going to leave this fairly loose. I'm going to put that in place. We're going to leave that there. I'm gonna go ahead and attach this Velcro so that it doesn't get pulled off. Leave this Velcro here. But this way now, if something happens to this wound packing, I can quickly come in here, crank this down, lock it in place, and now we've got the tourniquet back in place if this falls. So this is just a safety that we have in place so we're not scrambling to get a tourniquet on their leg. It's already in place, it's loose. We're not gonna tighten it until needed, but it's there just as a safety. So when we are in the C in the March algorithm, we are going to do things like apply pelvic binders. We're gonna reassess and tighten tourniquets, maybe some tourniquet conversions. We're also gonna do IVs, IOs, get fluid replacement, give blood products, all those things. But what we're talking about specifically today is reassessing, repositioning, and possibly even replacing tourniquets. But when we're looking specifically at tourniquets, there's 5 things that we're going to keep in mind in this portion. We're going to assess that tourniquet. We're going to move it and reposition if needed. We're going to tighten if needed, apply a second tourniquet if needed, and then if it's safe to do so, and if we are in that window time frame and it is beneficial for that patient, we can do a tourniquet conversion by replacing that tourniquet with some wound packing. So we hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, leave us a question in the comments below. We'll try to get back with you as soon as we can on that. And as always, stay vigilant and stay safe.